Hi everyone, I'm Rick Beato. In today's Everything Music, we're going to talk about multiplying melodic motifs, or how to play ideas that suggest other ideas that suggest other ideas. There's a lot of people that are great at doing this, but it's a very difficult thing to do when you're improvising. That's next on Everything Music. Okay, before we go any further, I want to discuss a concept, and it's called a musical period, or you could call it a phrase group. So, a musical period, it consists of two parts, the antecedent and the consequent. The antecedent is a phrase that ends with a weak cadence, and the consequent, okay, is a phrase that ends with a strong cadence. You can actually just call it a question and answer. But these two phrases combine to become a phrase group or a period. An example of that would be, you could say Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Da 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 is the antecedent. Da 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 is the consequent. Or you could even look to something like Bach, for example, like a phrase like this. Antecedent. Consequent. Okay, it's an idea that ends with a weak cadence, and then the second idea, which is the answer to that ends with a strong cadence. In that case, we're in D minor. Okay, and that ends on the 5 chord. So you're going from the 1 chord in D minor, and then you end on, and then you go to essentially an A7 flat 9 chord. Bach was very hip. And that ends on the 3rd of the D minor chord. Okay, so you're outlining a D minor, the first part of a D minor scale. And then to the 3rd of the A7 flat 9 chord. Because you're going the 3rd, the C sharp, A7, then up to B flat, which is the flat 9. So he's really thinking an A7 flat 9 sound there. So flat 6 on the D minor, and then that's a great example of a phrase group or a period. The most melodic players in any genre of music, jazz, rock, classical, are people that know how to play lines that suggest other lines, or play ideas that suggest other ideas. I'm going to give you an example here, and then I'm going to explain it. This is over a minor 2-5 in the key of A minor. So B minor 7 flat 5, E7 flat 9 to A minor 7. Let's do it again. So on the B minor 7 flat 5 chord, I'm playing rest. I'm strictly staying in a D minor arpeggio, D minor triad, starting on the root, rest. And then on the E7 flat 9, I'm playing 3rd, 4th, 5th, root, and then up to the 3rd on the A minor chord. Okay, so why am I doing that? Here's the question. That's the answer. And then the resolution. Rest. Okay, now in the first line I'm playing, it's kind of sophisticated actually. Now that F is hanging to be resolved. That's resolved within the next line, okay? And then it's resolved there, and then this note wants to lead up to here. So there's 2 lines going on actually. Rest. First resolution, second resolution, because so That's kind of the intricate interline in there. If you were to do if you were to talk about where the guide tones are, rest. Let's do it again with the chords. Now, you could play many different lines that suggest other lines. What you have to do is come up with a really good motif that suggests another motif that suggests another motif. This is really difficult. Only the best players can do this. You'll hear Cannonball Adderley will do this, or John Coltrane, or Charlie Parker, or Pat Metheny, or Wes Montgomery. They know how to play ideas that suggest other ideas. Keith Jarrett. So, another thing you might do over the same chord progression. Again. Okay, so what am I doing on that one? I'm playing on the B minor 7 flat 5. And I'm doing that resolution. I'm going. I'm resolving on the downbeat to the 3rd of the E7 chord. And I'm doing E7 chord right there. To the flat 9. Okay, let me show you the same idea over a common progression like a 1-6-2-5. I'm going to use an idea that leads you to another idea. Let's see if I can do this. 1-6-2-5. Okay, so what am I doing there? So the first part, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm using on the B flat major 7 chord. I have a little pickup. I'm using some neighbor tones to create the over the major tread. I'm playing. I'm basically 1-5-1. I'm kind of ignoring. Fits perfectly. Da 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 ba ba ba. Da 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 da. Okay. Okay, so there's an idea that is has a moving line that's ascending. Okay, then there's these. There's kind of like a Shankarian analysis there of it, but there's a couple extra guide notes that you would say. So that resolves to there, and then this line is moving up. Those are lines that have an inherent direction to them that the listener can predict what you're going to play, and it's up to you to change it just a little bit, but also that predictive nature of it makes it really compelling to listen to and satisfying to the listener. So that's an idea of how you could use a line like that on a jazz progression, on a 1-6-2-5 or 3-6-2-5 progression. Let me try another one over a 1-6-2-5 or 3-6-2-5. 1-6-2-5 and 3-6-2-5 are the same. The 1 chord and the 3 chord are substitutes for each other. Okay, so what am I doing there? On the B flat major 7 chord or D minor 7 chord, I'm playing 3rd, 5th, Then I'm doing it past, then I'm walking down, I'm doing the 9th of the B flat chord, right? Or the 7th of the D minor 7th chord, down to the 3rd of the G7 chord. So, da 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 da, then do da da, up to the minor 3rd of the C minor 7. Now that is implying a C sharp diminished 7th chord. One substitute for 1-6-2-5. You have a few different ones. You have 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, or 1 passing diminished, so B diminished, C minor 7, C sharp diminished 7th, D minor 7th. I use tritone substitutes coming down. So there's the in that line. That's da da da. So that's just implying that I'm moving. Da 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 da. Then I'm playing. So the 3rd of the chord of the B flat major 7, or the root of the D minor 7 chord. I'm thinking more D minor 7. Root, flat 7, 5th, passing tone, up to the 3rd of the G7 chord, and then flat 9, root, flat 7, flat 3rd of the C minor 7. Then I'm going the flat 7th of C minor 7, 5th of the C minor 7 to the 3rd of the F7 flat 9, and then flat 9 to the root of F7, flat 7 resolving to the 3rd of the B flat major 7. It's kind of tricky. I played, or really depends on how you want the phrasing to sound like. Or and at the end, like a B flat, like you're going to ba-ba-doo-ba, like you're going to B flat 7. Okay, enough of how I would do it. Let's look at some pros doing it. This first piece is from Pat Metheny's Rejoicing album, and it's a tune called Blues for Pat. This is a great example of this melodic invention, motific development idea that I'm talking about. Check it out. Okay, listen to it again. So this is an F blues, and he's walking into the chorus. He's leading in with a... Okay, so what is he doing here? He walks into the F7 chord. He walks right up to the 5th. Da, 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 da. Then to the root of the B flat 7. Then he walks on. Ba, ba, da, da, like a B7 sharp 11. Then down to the 5th. That's a total F13. Ba, 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 ba. And he ends on the 5th of the chord. So he's outlining these chords perfectly. But there's an interline that's going on here. Let's continue on. So he's outlining a B flat 7 chord right there. Outlining these so perfectly. I'll play the chords behind him. Listen. So all those notes there are those target notes that are one idea is suggesting the next idea. So he's setting up. He's setting up that D there, the third of the B flat 7 chord, perfectly. That whole line is building up to that D, up to the third on the 4 chord, okay? In the 4th bar. So this is a whole series of ideas that keep turning around themselves as the range or the tessitura of the melodic ideas keep rising up until that part. Then he goes. It's kind of the climax of that phrase is right at the very end. Okay, so one of the things that Pat does in his playing that a lot of people don't realize, he does a lot of really quick grace notes, which gives it that singing kind of quality. He's going, he does a lot of 1, 2, 3 hammer-ons like that, and that's straight out of Wes Montgomery. That's where he got that from. You'll see Wes do that all the time. If you listen to the Fried Pies solo off the Boss guitar, that's all through there. It's really all through Wes's playing, but it sounds like Pat's just doing a quick hammer-on, but he's really doing a 1, 2, 3. It has a certain horn-like flavor to it. So, and there's a lot of almost sliding on it. There's a little hammer-on he does there. And listen to it. Here he's going. He's hammering into that. He's playing a straight note. He's not hammering into that. He's going. That's a perfect example of F7 or of an F13 chord. And it goes right to the 5th. Perfect use of this motific development. This next tune is a tune off Full House by Wes Montgomery. It's a live record, and this is a blues. And I probably should have started with this one first because you can kind of see the lineage of Pat Metheny's playing, where he really got a lot of his phrasing ideas and I think melodic development ideas from Wes's playing. I know Pat listened to a lot of horn players, but you'll really kind of hear that that style. Check it out. Okay, so what's he doing there? So that's over in F7. He's doing that hammer on, like I was saying. So check out, I'll play the chords. Again, listen. G minor. Okay, so what is he playing there? He's going. Then he does on the G minor 7. And then on the C7, he's surrounding the flat 9. And then he comes down. Really odd fingering. It's like F mixolydian. And then he does this little. He puts in a little C7. He's kind of going da da ba da ba da ba da ba da. So it's not a straight 3-6-2-5 turnaround like you'd normally hear in a blues. They're going, and then they do a quick 5 chord back to the 1 chord. So these are some variations that jazz players use, especially beboppers. When they're playing blues, they don't always do the same type of changes. Wes would put in a lot of extra 2-5-1 progressions and things. But one of the things that I wanted to show you was the how he does these really odd phrases that so these two kind of go together. It's just such a really odd turn of phrase, but it's so perfectly melodic and makes so much sense. And then it resolves as it's descending. If you slow these things down, you realize just how amazing they are, even in slow motion. They're probably more amazing in slow motion. This is another example from a record called Travels, a Pat Metheny record. I'm just going to go back and forth between Pat and Wes. I was going to add Train in here and Parker and everybody, but it's easier just to stick with the guitar. Anyways, so this is a guitar synth solo, but you'll get the idea. This is essentially over a C7 chord or a C11 chord. Okay, that would be like a B flat major. B flat major over C, a C11 chord, be Mixolydian. Okay, listen to what Pat plays. Okay, so this is a really interesting development. So he's going. All those doubled notes. Dun, 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 dun. There's a whole skeleton framework of how one note da 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 da. Every line just keeps moving the melodic and rhythmic direction of the line, just keep propelling it forward to this in this really perfect C7. Listen again. He ends right on the 7th, but he starts. He goes down from the sus4. That's the 3rd in the root of the C7. So really cool. So da da da, but he adds those extra notes in there to keep driving that idea of that propelling that line upward. So those are kind of the guide notes of it. So it really is, all those notes are propelling the melody forward. One more time. So that's, once again, a great example of a motific development that continues on, and in this case only over one chord, but continues on over the course of a couple bars that really, where your ear kind of knows where it's going before it even gets there. That's the whole idea of this motific development. This last example I'm going to do a whole nother couple episodes on this because there's so many different examples of great players doing this. This is from John Coltrane's Blue Train solo. And it's really near the end of it, and I always love this because it's essentially going so G minor 7, then F sharp minor 7, then F minor 7. Check it out. But there's a climbing line. So he's setting up, the first thing, I'm going to play the chords with it. On that last F minor 7, he's basically playing A flat major into F minor 7 arpeggio. But that whole line is being set up. The first one ends here, and then is the target note of the second line, and the target note of the third line is up to that E flat. So it's really going. It really leads your ear. By the time that third chord comes, I expect it to go there. it's probably because I've heard it a million times too, but I think it's such an interesting, even the first time I heard it, I knew that he was going to go up to that high E flat there. I just knew it. He set it up so perfectly. Once again, listen. So, once again, a great example of playing an idea that leads you to another idea that leads you to another idea. That's all for now. Please subscribe here and at my Everything Music Facebook page. Also, check out the Beato Book at the link provided below. And you can also support me on Patreon to help me do more videos like this. I'm Rick Beato.